Here we go.
And we are starting. One, two, three, four, five for each.
You have 1 hour to start.
1 hour is allotted for this match. At the end of 1 hour, if we still don't have a winner, we'll go into extra turns. And if we don't have a winner after that, we'll continue in sudden death until there is one. Skay's starting off with DD Crow, very valuable to have. He's got 2 copies in his main deck. He's opened with 1. Dianaya, not quite useful yet. Effect Veiler, very handy.
Yeah, it looks like
all in all, not a lot of action here.
The opening move is probably going to be card D, which is a good opening move on for your first turn.
Especially when you've got DD Crow and Effect Veiler in your hand as well. 1 card face down, summons card D and tributes it to draw 2 cards. Picking up Double Cyclone, and it looks like the second Dianaya. Infernity, Archfiend, Dinotherium, Soul Charge, Archfiend, Eris, Foolish, Burial, and now Stygian Street Patrol. Working with the extra card is Sahabi Teradine, and he special summons Dinotherium. Can't special summon Cardcar, so Dinotherium's downside does not come into play. Stygian Street Patrol is up next. The question is, do you attack first or start comboing? The answer is attack first. I like the play. Get as much damage in as you can while your opponent's hand appears weak. You can always steal a game with Gaga Cowboy later.
That's quite a nice bit of damage there as well. 3,200, I believe, yes.
2 hits from 2 1,600 attack monsters. And that is it for Sahabi's turn. Shinsuke's picked up Traptrix Myrmileo,
which will be helpful later on.
Especially because he has both copies of Dianaya. At this point, he can summon her to get a trap hole, likely bottomless trap hole.
There is a double cyclone in there as well.
And he also has the ability to trade her off with one of Sahabi's monsters and get her in the graveyard for later. Probably not going to do it though, because if he leaves himself open with nothing but a single trap card, simply drawing 1 Mystical Space Typhoon can put the game right back in Sahabi's favor and possibly end it. Be very, very careful when you're dueling against Infernity, especially because this is such a non-standard opening.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in this particular tournament.
No.
Stygian Street Patrol on the field, except sometime other than the end of the game. Dinotherium sticking around. But you have to bring everything you've got if you want to win the World Championship.
And that's why Sahabi's sitting up here. And all the other Infernity players we've seen not playing like this.
And
in that seat.
Shinsuke's bringing it as well. He's bringing Bottomless Trap Hole to his hand with Traptrix Myrmileo. Still with a DD Crow and an Effect Veiler in hand. But so far, Sahabi hasn't done anything that would make those cards useful to him. He does decide to trade off the Traptrix, and now counts on his spell and trap cards to keep Sahabi honest. And right now, Sahabi's very seriously considering just throwing down Eris and attacking for more damage while he gets the chance. Eris, too small to be hit by Bottomless Trap Hole.
That's why I love having just some little monsters.
Yep.
Because everybody plays Bottomless Trap Hole.
And most of them see it, well, more of them see it on the first turn than ever, thanks to the Traptrix monsters. And that's what he's going to do. Archfiend Eris is next.
Just checking there, the effect of Archfiend Eris. I'll show you all.
1,000 attack. This would be 2,600 more damage, giving Shinsuke 1 turn left to do something.
Just checking how many cards he has in hand there.
It is 4. Archfiend Eris attacks directly, followed by Stygian Street Patrol. But you get the feeling that if Shunsuke can just get through this next turn and resolve his first Dianaya play, that he's actually going to be in a pretty good position despite being so far down on life points. Smart move, though, not setting any of your face-down cards. You don't want to leave yourself open to Traptrix Myrmileo.
Or
Not
Double
only,
Cyclone.
or Double Cyclone. Not only would you lose a spell and trap card, they'd also get an Xyz summon. Myrmileo's a lot less scary when she's just making rank 4s. Archfiend Eris, let's go ahead and bring it up as it is the subject of question right now. Sent to the graveyard because of card effect or destroyed by battle. Grab any Archfiend card from your deck, except another copy of her. Doesn't really come to play because you only really use one copy outside of a dedicated Archfiend deck. Though I suppose some people would argue that Infernity is a dedicated Archfiend deck, just dedicated to Infernity Archfiend.
Yeah.
One of the more interesting decks that we saw back in North American WCQ was a Berserk Dragon deck that used multiple copies of Archfiend Emperor, First Lord of Horror, which if sent to the graveyard, even by its own effect, it fulfills the condition for a Deal with Dark Ruler, card you need to play with Berserk Dragon. It's a very cool deck. I need to remember to dig up that deck list sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, he's checking there for what rank 4s he can bring out. I mean, what has he currently got that he can bring
Well,
out?
he's got the Exciton Knight. He's got Black Ship of Corn, Rhapsody and Berserk, Diamond Direwolf, Abyss Dweller, Ragnar Zero, and 2 copies of Silent Honor Arc Knight. I really like 2 copies of Silent Honor Arc Knight. I was going over all the extra deck choices before the event, before I came out here, and every time I thought about taking my second Silent Honor Arc out of a deck's extra deck,
Yeah.
the very next game that I would test it in, it would come into a situation where I needed that second Silent Honor Arc Knight. And you can't really go by one game at a time to think, oh, I need to put that back in. But when it keeps happening every single time, it stops being a pattern and starts being a problem. Traptrix Dianaya has been normal summoned, special summoning back Myrmileo. No opponent's card to destroy here. So the first thing that Shinsuke is going to do is exploit the 100 attack differential between Dianaya and Stygian Street Patrol and send it to the graveyard. Doesn't want to send Eris there yet because it will result in a search.
That's Black Ship of Corn.
Black Ship of Corn, main phase 2, activated. Send Eris to the graveyard. Let's go ahead and bring up Black Ship of Corn.
Just one moment. Just updating there.
Sahabi's taking a look at it, and so will we. It has an effect that sends an opposing monster to the graveyard that has less attack points than it.
So it's not destroyed as such.
Correct. And then inflicts 1,000 damage.
We're just waiting for our tech team there just to update that.
$1,000 damage to Sababi. Go ahead and bring up Archfiend Eris again, as he is currently searching for. Searches out Infernity Archfiend. Now the critical thing here is he knows that his opponent has Bottomless Trap Hole. So the trick is, can you special summon Infernity Archfiend twice, knowing that the first one's just going to get swallowed up? And with the Foolish Burial, he can, because he can send another Stygian Street Patrol to the graveyard. 2 more cards join Shunsuke's Bottomless Trap Hole and Artifact. And he's just doing everything he can to try to stop Sahabi's aggression. But normally when you see that on the other side of the field after a duel has been going so well for you, the first thought is, well, a lot of those cards were in his hand before, so he's probably just bluffing at this point and you continue on.
Yeah.
But one of the ways that a good player can get you is if they happen to draw the Torrential Tribute or Mirror Force or whatever card can completely blow you out, they'll hurriedly set a bunch of cards that they weren't going to otherwise to make you think they don't have it. It also stops or reduces the odds of Mystical Space Typhoon hitting it.
Here's what Shinsuke has.
Great draw for Sababi Carradine. That Forbidden Lance will let him do a lot of good. First things first. Banishes Stygian Street Patrol to summon Infernity Archfiend.
Just waiting for a response and
Seeing
Is
if
he
it's
gonna
going
give
to
it?
come. He really wants Shinsuke to use the bottomless trap hole right here. The tricky thing about trying to get your Archfiend summoned and protect it with Forbidden Lance is that you need the Lance set for a turn before you can do that. You can't just set it and flip it. Takes on the activation properties of a trap card. Can't play the turn you set.
okay, I think he's let it slide.
Archfiend is in there. And then he normal summons the second one.
Waiting for a response.
Sometimes you just have to do it the hard way. So Bobby's probably thinking to himself, well, I'm just going to wait for his Xyz summon now. If you don't have the Solemn Warning or something, I don't know that you can take that chance, though, of getting completely blasted by Exciton Knight.
Now we
Oh, no, he does have the effect failure, though.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he's ready for it. Well, that turn at least.
Talby's very carefully considering how wrong can this possibly go before I'm out of it, as he does have the Soul Charge in his hand as well, and a Foolish Burial that can send another target for it. The safest play would be to go straight for Exciton. And he makes the Xyz summon. And summons the Exciton Knight. Four cards in hand. 8 cards total between Shinsuke's hand and field. Effect is activated.
And there's effect failure.
Veiler is chained. But if you're Shinsuke, you can't get too confident. Because there's, remember, Forbidden Lance is also an attack-changing card. So he could use it to drop Black Ship of Corn's attack too low to activate its ability.
That is true.
I don't know that I've ever seen it used that way, though.
It would definitely help. Let's just check out Black Ship of Corn there.
Does have to be activated preemptively, though.
Could not be activated in chain.
I mean, you could do it, but it's the targeting. You have to target a monster that has attack less than Black Ship of the Corn. When you resolve it, you just send it, whatever the monster is, rather than send that target. Two face-down cards.
He's just really doing anything to really try and get that exciting night effect off, as it stands at the moment. But there is a double cyclone right there set down, and an artifact big Altac.
Call of the Haunted activated on Traptrix Mirror Maleo. That's going to take out one of the face-down cards.
Oh,
The
and
Infernity Break.
Yep. So
And
that's been.
Don't be shocked if we see the double cyclone right now to take out the other one before it has a chance to be used. quickly doing calculations. Shinsuke now considering how much damage can he do. Not wanting to give the Infernity Duelist any further time to set up, because so far it looks like his combos aren't coming together either.
Now looking at it, he also still has Dioneer in his hand.
He does have the second one.
If he's going to be removing to try and destroy the Exiting Knight, even if he stops that effect, he's going to be able to get Dioneer with Dioneer. And then he has another rank 4.
Which will bring the Bottomless Trap Hole back as well with the second Diony's effect.
Well, the Bottomless Trap Hole is actually still on the field.
That's right, he didn't use it. But if Exciton Knight goes off, then it will be in the graveyard.
Yeah.
It's a tense moment. Struggling with his decision whether or not to flip the card. And he does it. Double Cyclone targeting Call, the Haunted, and the Face Down card.
Interesting.
Puts Myrmidon back into the graveyard to be revived again. And takes out the Forbidden Lance, which allows Black Ship of Corn to do its thing.
And he has just drawn another Murmello.
$1,000 damage for Black Ship of Corn. Sahabi doesn't even have his Forbidden Lance to force through a Soul Charge play.
This is where Shinsuke is really turning it around.
Another Myrmidon is up next, and that's going to get his other Trap Hole from the deck, Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. And things have gone from bad to worse for Sahabi. Now, even if he could force through a Soul Charge play, Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare could still stop an Archfiend or whatever other monster he summoned that activated its effect this turn.
Yep.
Myrmidon attacks directly for 1,600. Black Ship of Corn cannot, as it used its effect this turn, but it still contributed 1,000 damage by its effect. Quick check its life points, and it's 4,300 to 2,200.
Now it's really evening up the score there. And what have he just drawn?
Soul Charge and Foolish Burial from before, and now he has a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Ooh, what's he going to hit?
Typhoon is activated against the card that he doesn't know the identity of.
I believe that might be that. Yep, there it is.
It is the artifact Bigaltok. He doesn't go after either of the two trap holes. Audible sigh.
Yeah.
And Shinsuke waits until his opponent plays Foolish Burial to activate its effect.
I think we're just checking to see whether it's a mandatory effect or not.
Artifact Bigaltok. When its set card is destroyed, sent to your graveyard, special summon it.
Yeah.
It is mandatory.
Yeah, you have to have that on the field.
Gotta wonder why he didn't just activate it straight away.
Yeah. Now, it feels that the blind Mystical Space Typhoon was to try and attempt to hit the Bottomless Trap Hole. I don't know whether he just forgot the positioning.
Yeah, I believe it's because he's... Did he set it on the same turn as the Bigaltok? No, he did not. That's right, it was Bigaltok, then Bottomless Trap Hole,
So he may
then
have just
Traptrix
forgotten
Trap
it.
Hole. The other thing you could be going for is the fact that both of Artifact Bigaltok's effects are mandatory.
So he has to destroy
So
another
he's
of his
still
own
going to get
cards.
one of those trap holes out of here.
Well, it's going to be Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to let a Soul Charge go through.
Absolutely. So here's the clever thing to do. If you're Sahabi and you know that Bottomless Trap Hole is there, and you've got that Archfiend Heiress that has 1,000 attack points in your graveyard, you go ahead and send a level 3 monster, like Infernity Necromancer, that does not have as much.
Like that.
Now you can soul charge safely. Interesting thing will be to see how many of the Archfiends he brings back.
3?
So what you could do is leave one Archfiend in the graveyard to be summoned back by Necromancer now that you haven't got a hand.
He's summoning back one of the Archfiends just to see if he can get that Bottomless Trap hole out of the way. So if he does, then he can start actually XC summoning.
And that's the best thing for him.
He's going for 4.
He wants to force the Bottomless Trap hole to come out at this point. So the great thing about this move, I really love this, is if he brings out one Archfiend, and it does get hit by Bottomless Trap hole, you revive the other with Necromancer, set whatever card you took out, and then you overlay your Necromancer with your Archfiend Heiress for Leviair,
Yeah.
and then get back the other one. Very smart play.
And he could definitely pull it back with that.
And the reason that you get back Dinotherium at this point as well is to make sure that there is no... or make sure that you see the Bottomless.
Yeah. And now
So that there is no
was
rank 4.
DD Crow that got rid of an Archfiend.
We do see the Crow, however. And the effect is the same. One Archfiend's banished, one Archfiend's not. And I think Shunsuke has just realized that he's in deep trouble. Bobby taking a look at Infernity Necromancer. No normal summon yet this turn. And he takes the Necromancer. Now there's absolutely no question that other card is Bottomless Trap hole.
Yeah. Okay, he's overlaying.
Rank 4 monster is next.
Ooh, he's thinking about exits at night.
He's
Or
also looking at King
101.
Gorgon there. Also looking at 101. There are a lot of choices to make here, but he does need to remember he gets no battle phase this turn.
Diamond Direwolf?
Diamond Direwolf.
Interesting.
Still no Bottomless Trap hole.
Well, there's definitely no Bottomless Trap hole now.
Yeah, now it's in the graveyard.
Oh.
Necromancer's up next. Activates it for Archfiend. Archfiend goes ahead and searches out. I think this is where you start getting Launcher, yeah. So you're going to have Launcher first. And what Sababi really needs to do, I mean, other than clear out those monsters from Shunsuke's side of the field, he needs to get to that Infernity barrier. One break is gone from the deck. He plays 3 breaks total with the one Infernity barrier. So you're not going to get quite as good of a turn as triple break and barrier like we saw earlier.
Still an amazing turn, though.
But if you clear that field and get the barrier set and 1 break, I think Sababi wins the game. With only 2,200 life points left, there's not enough time left to stall out.
It depends, because there's a Dioneer.
Not if it
Dioneer
gets
gets
negated.
overload. That's true. That is true. Is that a second Diamond Direwolf?
Nope.
No.
That's 2 level 3 monsters. Makes Leviair.
Yeah. Alright, so remove from play Archfiend and brings it back.
Archfiend returns and we're getting another search. This time he takes a break.
So please put your graveyard back in the pile.
And he's about to overlay both of his Archfiends. And he's debating between Diamond Direwolf and Silent Honor Arc.
Silent Honor Arc would then get the Archfiends back into the graveyard as well and take his monster.
Wolf
No, he's
does
going for the
as
wolf.
well. Detaches.
You do, however, end up with a monster at the end of it as well, with 101.
Yes, you do, with a protection effect to boot. Checks the graveyard. He's seen an Infect Veiler and a DD Crow. Launcher goes next. Takes a look at his Necromancer. And this is what you do, is that basically you don't summon both Archfiends here because you only be able to search once.
Yeah.
You get Necromancer Archfiend, so you search one set of cards, summon the other, but search again. Second Infernity Break, and final one, that's 3, the other one's in the graveyard. Necromancer is next, Archfiend again. Infernity Barrier is the last one.
Just gone from nothing to an explosion of monsters. Well, that is Infernity.
That is Infernity. You do need to be careful, though, that you leave one attack position Infernity monster on the field, at least. I believe the important thing for Sahabi this time was to get the 2 breaks down.
Yeah.
And that's going to give him a way to clear out the monsters without needing to see summon, so he can leave both copies of Archfiend in play. It's an imposing field.
Now he's just drawn a card D, which doesn't really help him at this point.
Yeah, you can't afford to skip your turn, basically. In fact, you don't even need to negate the card D if you don't want to.
Now here we go,
Dionea targets
which is
Myrmileo.
more than likely to be negated by Infernity Barrier.
You're either negating it and getting rid of Dionea as well, or you're losing your Infernity Barrier to Myrmileo.
Because he knows where that is.
Barrier destroys Dionea along with it. And I don't think there's any hope of Shinsuke getting out of this one, since both of his monsters will be destroyed by the 2 Infernity breaks. And he's only got 2,200 life points left.
Let's see if he realizes that.
Well, even if he does realize it, there's always the chance that he's hoping Sahabi doesn't realize it and will make a mistake.
But to get all the way to the finals,
Not likely.
you don't get that by making mistakes.
And make no mistake, this one is over.
Wow.
Sahabi Carradine takes duel 1. That was, for me, that was one of the highlight matches of the weekend. That's
Definitely.
probably the first one I'd go back to, given a choice.
Especially because it was the European champion versus the world champion.
Yeah,
as well,
you've
wasn't
also got that.
it? Now we've got a Forbidden Lance, an Armageddon Knight, an Instant Fusion, I believe that's an Archfiend, and a Forbidden Chalice.
I think that's Chalice.
Doesn't look like Lance.
Yeah, you don't see the lance in the corner. How nice is that Forbidden Item game mat, though?
I have
Battle
not
Pack 3
seen
kits?
it.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
You got to check that out when we're done
have
here. It's gorgeous.
As far as I know, I don't think it's actually available in Europe so
Oh,
far.
no.
I do think it's US only.
Ooh. Shitsukahiyama starts off with a Set Solemn Warning, which is destroyed by Mystical Space Typhoon.
Armageddon Knight.
Armageddon Knight's down next, and with no other cards on the field, the combos are on. Stygian Street Patrol is sent. 3 cards face down. Street Patrol is banished, or Infernity Archfiend.
You know, it all starts.
That's exactly how it all starts. Can we get a quick look at Shinsuke's hand?
Actually, not quite now. We're just having a couple of technical difficulties.
Well, the question that Sahabi is asking himself is, does he have those crows again? Are the crows and Valor there? There's no Max C. Would have seen it by now.
Now, when we caught a glimpse at his hand earlier, no, I didn't see any of that, so...
It didn't look like it.
No. He has got his card trooper in there, which, as I said before, he has what a lot of his matches using.
Question is he going to make it to next turn?
And, well...
Sahabi had just an incredible hand for this situation.
This is the first attacking turn, isn't it?
This is the first attacking turn.
Oh, this is
Sahabi
not
with
looking
5
good
cards.
for Shinsuke.
Shinsuke started with 5 cards. Sahabi 6. Instant Fusion, Infernity Launcher. Everything is coming up Canada in this one. Levier's next, detaching to special summon back. Stygian Street Patrol. Stygian Street Patrol is on the field.
The judge there just coming in and saying, give your opponent a chance to say, no, I don't want to do anything. Which, of course, no. There isn't really anything he can do.
Yeah, we talked about last round, or the last thing you want to see happen in your final match is a string of monsters when you really just need a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Yeah.
I think I find something that is a little worse than that.
Setting a card, have it Mystical Space Typhoon, and then this happen.
And then this happening. And Sahabi now taking a look at his extra deck. He is running a pair of level Val Chains. And it's looking like he's debating on whether to summon that next.
He's waiting for him to respond.
Shinsuke takes a lot of time. Tries to make it seem like he has something when he really doesn't. And the second level Val Chain comes down and sends Archfiend to the graveyard. Nothing too fancy this time. He goes ahead and summons both copies of Infernity Archfiend. He's only going to get 1 search for that, though. He gets Barrier. And looking at the field, that is 5 1800 attack monsters.
Yeah.
Assuming all of this goes through, that will be it.
That's it.
5,000 plus 4,000 is 9,000 damage. Declaring attacks 1 at a time, just in case Gores decides to drop in and make a surprise appearance in the ring.
No, there really is nothing in hand that he can do. That's it.
And that is it.